Simulate controls whether clothing participates in the simulation. Close it and run again to see clothing not participating in simulation. Self-collision controls to self-collision switch off clothing. Uncheck and run to see clothing self-intersecting. Check again and run. With self-collision enabled, the clothing self-intersection disappears. Async mode is asynchronous simulation mode for higher performance. Animation mode is animation mode. If there's no animation data for the human body, you can turn off this option to improve performance. Smooth animation is smooth animation. Enabling it can alleviate human body animation jumps, enhancing simulation stability. Back face controls whether to generate the back face mesh of clothing. Side face controls whether to generate the side face mesh of clothing. To better see the mesh changes, adjust the perspective here and increase the fabric thickness. First, look at the state of clothing with back and side face meshes enabled. You can see that the front, side, and back connections are natural and the fabric structure is complete. Close the back face mesh. You can see that the inside fabric model is missing now. Enable the back face mesh, close the side face mesh. You can see that the side fabric model is now missing. Collision convex controls the switch for generating collision bounding volumes for clothing. Friction force controls the switch for inertia force. Solver type indicates the solver type. GPU ID is the GPU number used for simulation. Time step indicates the simulation time step. It is recommended to set it to the reciprocal of the FPS displayed after play. If set to 0, time step is automatically adjusted based on the frame time interval. Iteration indicates the number of iterations for solving. The higher the value, the more accurate the solution, but also the greater the computational cost. Gravity controls the acceleration due to gravity. Change it to 10 and you can see that with the change in gravity acceleration, the clothing floats upward. Air damping controls the numerical value of air resistance. Self-collision stiffness controls the self-collision strength. Running, you can see that the acceleration of gravity changes to custom floats upward. Increase self-collision strength, run. And you can observe that the force after clothing collision increases. Extra thickness controls the additional collision thickness. The larger the value, the less likely penetration will occur, but the gap between clothes also become larger. Change it to 5, and after running, you can see the gap between clothing and the human body increases. After reducing the value and running again, you can observe that the gap becomes smaller.